Hello and welcome to Revamped, a rewatch podcast covering my all-time favorite shows and movies. I'm your host, Brandon Alexander.
And I'm your co-host, Courtney Autumn.
Together, we've been journeying through Buffy the Vampire Slayer, patrolling the streets of Sunnydale, but now our path expands beyond the Hellmouth as we continue to follow Buffy's battles and growth.
We also step into the shadowy streets of Los Angeles to join Angel on his quest for redemption and his fight to discover what it truly means to be a champion.
Venture with us through every episode in order as we experience the story from two perspectives, Courtney's first time watch and my seasoned rewatch, doubling down on the themes and moments that shape the Buffyverse.
We'll examine pivotal choices, major story arcs, and explore the deeper layers of each show's continued character growth and development.
All while engaging in conversations and sharing our own authentic thoughts and feelings to what's unfolding before us.
So sharpen your stakes, ready your swords,
and continue to stand with us against the forces of darkness as we journey through the supernatural worlds of Buffy the Vampire Slayer
and Angel.
Let's get into this episode. Hey, everybody. Oh, no. Why do I say that like that? Hey, everybody. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to this week's episode of Revamped. Today, clearly, we are here back to talk about some Buffy the Vampire Slayer with Season 4, Episode 9.
Something blue. Sorry, I was texting Meredith.
Something blue. Something borrowed, something blue. Something demonic and something you. Well, I figured we're doing spell work this episode. Yeah?
Hey, I like it.
It aired November 30th, 1999, written by Tracy Forbes and directed by Nick Mark. But M-A-R-C-K. So Mark.
He has like two first names.
Yeah, literally. The guy with two first names. Hopefully we'll see him again as a director or something, so we can be like, oh, it's the guy with two first names again. We'll remember him because of this. It's not Petri dish, upsettingly.
Have you ever watched New Girl?
Nope.
Oh, damn. There's this like girl on there. She's a Russian chick, and instead of saying Mickey Mouse, she's like Mick Mouse. And for some reason, that just reminded me of that.
Is that the Zoe Deschanel show?
Yeah.
That was a twister to say because of the word show and Deschanel. The Zoe Deschanel. We're not here to talk about that, though. We're here to talk about this one. And in this one, heartbroken over Oz's departure, Willow turns to magic to ease her pain, but her spell goes wrong, causing her words to reshape reality. As her grief spirals out of control, the gang is left dealing with increasingly strange and unpredictable consequences. Oh my god. Okay, so clearly the episode's title, now you know what something blue means, and
yes.
Clearly it's referring to both Willow's grief, as you know, there's something blue about her, Buffy's engagement in this episode to our favorite person in the world now, for sure. Because, you know, obviously we have the tradition of like the bride wearing, amongst other things, something blue during her wedding. So we get the little joke there because, you know, the episode has to circle back to Buffy in some way, shape, or form, except Wild at Heart. But this is like the completion of the Wild at Heart journey. Because as we said, we've been going through the motions with Willow, kind of like a little hearsay here and there. Like Pangs, I don't feel like we got really anything because there was other stuff going on. Angel stole the spotlight, but there has been some mention since Oz left where Willow's dealing with something or upset or whatever the case may be. But now we get it full circle. But before I get all into that, obviously, like really quickly, we got some returning guests in this episode. So those stars are Andy Umberger returning as D'Hoffryn, who we have not seen in a really long time. I think it was like Doppelgangland. And I think that's actually where we met him because Anya was like, give me my power center back. And he's like, no. But I thought it was funny. I wrote like in little parentheses for him, like because I talked about his stuff, that work that he did, and I said he played a character back then over on Angel, and obviously I told you that the character that's D'Hoffryn was also the character that played Dr. Meltzer on the I Fall to Pieces episode. So I was like, he's real busy this year between Buffy and Angel having these little reoccurring roles and shit. And then our other reoccurring role, because clearly everyone's been absent-minded about her on the show, but Elizabeth Ann Allen has a very quick, brief return as Amy Mads.
Oh yeah, for a millisecond.
So funny. But I can't wait to get to that point. So either way, right now let's talk about what you thought of this episode, because it's so fun.
Oh, this was so fun. So much fun. I literally paused. This is the first time this has happened. I had to pause the episode after this one particular part, and when we get there, I'll call it out. But I had to pause it because I was laughing so fucking hard that I was like, if I don't pause the episode, I'm going to miss something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I literally could not get it together. And I think as much as there's been funny stuff, that's definitely been like the first episode. I've just been like, hold on, I gotta collect myself because this is way too much.
I feel like there's so many parts in it. I'm like thinking in my head.
Are you
like,
trying to guess which one?
Yes, yes. And I can't pick one out because there's too many.
There are so many, and there were a few that almost got me, like this one did. But Giles, I'll just say Giles.
Poor Giles.
I can't. Like, Giles killed me this episode, and he's my favorite. And also, Spike really, I don't know. I love Spike right now, just after this whole situation happened. So I don't know how to feel. It had me fucked up at the end emotionally.
Yeah. Isn't it kind of interesting how they've been working Spike into the show now that I said that he's kind of like becoming like a little recurring character on the show? Like, we're seeing a lot more of him.
Yeah. And I like it because I didn't think I would. I think that his character was so different when Drusilla was around, kind of thing. And not that we're not seeing the same elements of that person back then, but like he's evolved in a way that I don't know, it allows you to see a better side of him, so you're not cringing the whole time, or you're not like ready for him to get off the screen, or ready for Buffy to slay him, or you're just having this constant like hate relationship with him. At least now it's more of a love-hate relationship, and I don't know, I'm here for it. I'm here for his character on the show. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. That's the one thing you should have prefaced, is that this episode is like really fucking funny.
I feel like I did at the end of our last one. Well, whenever we did the last
maybe you
episode.
did, I don't know.
It's been a couple episodes ago now because we recorded Angel between that and stuff like that.
And we had a whole moment there. So
yeah, I feel like I've always liked this one too. It's a fun one to get to. It is a filler episode, and if anything, it obviously does hone back in on Willow's journey and the which stuff that she's been dealing with, whatever. And obviously, if you give me magic, I'm usually turn up for the episode too, because it's centered around witchcraft and magic in a certain type of way. So it's a fun way to, I guess, center working in Willow's pain over Oz leaving, and also kind of seal up the chapter of that, and also explore Willow's use of magic kind of like again as a coping mechanism, or like an answer for things. I noticed that because that's kind of popped up a good bit, and spoiler alert, we will continue to see that manifest through Willow as the show goes on, and we've been seeing this, so we know it's going to possibly come, so I don't feel like that's a spoiler. I think the idea of the spell was genius to like have it go wrong and affect the gang through like Willow's words too, which was interesting just because often
that was great. Oh,
yep. What's I about to say? Like, oftentimes in real life, when a friend is in pain, they typically end up lashing out on their friends if they're upset enough. They can't deal with life and the reality of things, and your words are your power at the end of the day. So this one kind of is an interesting take on that, and how that can show up in a world where the metaphysical and the supernatural take place all the time too. So it's a fun way to create something. Like, I can't ever get over that. I saw, obviously, clearly, I'm always shouting out some Shane Gill's reviews. Like, we're gonna have to get that motherfucker on this podcast at some point. I'm gonna have to find out his email and message him. All his posts are from like a decade ago or more. So like,
oh, for real?
I'm
I didn't
pretty
realize
sure
that.
So like, this motherfucker probably is like not even on Earth anymore and dead or something like that.
Oh no, don't.
Just kidding. I'm just saying that would be my luck. I'll go to get this guy on here. But he made a comment. He was like, Willow still being miserable is completely understandable. Oz has only been gone for a month, and they were together for almost 2 years. Oz was Willow's first and only major relationship. This is Willow's first heartache in that regard, so she has no idea how to deal with it. The great thing about Willow's behavior in this episode is that it's so relatable. I'm almost sure that everyone reading this has had their heart broken by the end of a relationship in one way or another. What Willow was going through is something that most people go through, which is kind of what I was saying in the beginning. And he continued to say, at first, Willow is acting like most people do when they've recently been dumped. She's drinking alcohol, lashing out at her friends. She's crying, erratic, and in short, she's miserable. And it's quite distressing to see Willow lashing out at someone like Xander or her friend Buffy or even Giles. And he made a note saying like Xander was being nothing but supportive to Willow, and Willow used Xander's insecurities about his place in life against him. She made light of his sufferings at living in his parents' basement, which I feel is very unfair. Keeping it in context, though, Willow was going through an emotional time, so we'll cut her some slack. End his statement. I didn't think about like the moment that happens with Xander later is just so quick when it happens, and then they clearly get over it. Xander clearly gets over it. You know what I mean? Buffy kind of like steps in there and says some things, but I thought that was worth pointing out because that's his very best friend, and she's saying something hurtful to him, and obviously she's drunk in that moment too. I mean, I could totally talk about it then, but I'm going to talk about it now because, like I said, it flips out of your mind. It just flutters away. But I thought that was important that he made that comment and stuff, because like Xander has been nothing but supportive. She's been going to Xander this season to talk about like the Oz and Veruca situation, these other things. So I thought that added another little layer to them. And you never really had this. And this is all for purpose, because my last statement that I wrote in my notes was like, Willow was actually managing kind of okay, but clearly not understanding and thinking that Oz was going to return. And it does rock her world when the possibility of that becomes like more of his permanent departure. And I think that's what sends her off the rails in our cold open.
Of course.
I also feel, coming off the emotional weight of like last episode of Angel, this brings the energy back up some and helps explore Buffy's returning to Sunnydale and her kind of getting more into Riley now that Angel is kind of fully behind her in that way. At least that door is more open in that sense, like getting on Buffy's side of things. Because what I want to continue about Willow, I actually just realized, is at the very end of the episode that I want to speak on. Willow getting the shockwave from fucking Oz being gone made all this happen and unfold. And it'll be interesting to kind of like discuss as we go around like the standpoint and viewpoint from Willow. I guess in my closing thought on that, I'll kind of like say something and maybe that'll like spark some conversation between that. For some reason I thought it was right here, but you know, I did this episode a little bit ago and only added in notes and stuff like that, so here I am. I'm only human. I'm everywhere today too. I'm just thankfully not having an anxiety flare, because then I'd be like willing it so that I am not here.
No,
not on Earth. Not okay. I'm not Shangel.
I was gonna say we're really taking it to doomsday quickly today.
Yeah, I guess we'll talk about that then. I didn't really write anything else, to be quite honest, other than the fact that this episode's fun, like we were kind of saying and stuff like that. Like,
yeah, obviously it's not to ignore the seriousness of the episode that there is, as much as it is funny and all of that. But Willow clearly is still going through the ringer, and not that we don't expect her not to be, but I think because like the last, well, now my episodes between the two shows are going to start running together, but like the last few episodes have been so centered around like, or at least the last episode has been centered more around Buffy, I guess. And so you almost forget, it falls into the background that Willow's really still going through it. And maybe like you said, because the Band-Aid is just freshly ripped off again by seeing that all the stuff is gone. And there's no explanation, so there's no closure, there's no conversation, and that hurts worse than just the departure itself.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I get it, and I can't imagine, like, not resorting to magic if you're in Willow's situation, especially if you feel like that's going to cushion the blow of all the emotions that you're feeling. So it's no wonder, but as, you know, classic Willow, or really any magic so far on the show would have it, it turns out to be a disaster that isn't discovered until later.
Yeah. Speaking like to that, it's kind of interesting how like both shows and the storyline kind of being one long outstretched arc. That's why it's kind of hard to get like, or easy to like become blurred between the two. Willow and Buffy both, even though we haven't seen it from Willow, but now we can assume that she can kind of move on from Oz after this issue that's gone on. She at least seems a lot brighter and happy and coping for sure once the episode ends. But like between last episode into this episode, especially this episode, Buffy and her have kind of both moved forward from their last relationships at the same time. They've arrived at the same point. You know, coming off of last episode, like I was saying kind of in my final notes, Buffy having that whole emotional upheaval with Angel, even if it, for her in her mind, it's 5 minutes of dialogue, having to see him, having to call him out for what happened on Pangs, and then come back to this episode and see how she's like, you know, she explores it for like a second, but now she can move forward with like her relationship potential with Riley, and now Willow can move forward with her single life again and not be so like wrapped up in like, is Oz coming back, is he not? They both had a sense of closure, wrapping up the culmination of both these big love arcs for the two characters. So it's interesting we're kind of at now. Yeah,
and it's kind of good in a way that even though so much happened in this episode, it ended how it did, to where it's almost as if Willow's emotions are overshadowed by how guilty she feels for causing all these problems for her friends. And so it's like you're saying, it seems like she's a little lighter, because it also feels like she's not as heavy over one particular thing, which would be Oz. And now she kind of has her own emotions to sort through about some other things that she created. So yeah.
I just hope that bitch learned a lesson, and I'm not quite so sure she did, but we can get into the episode and actually kind of figure it out. That way we can get to the end statement. We can talk a little more about it. All right. Press play, everyone. We open in Oz's old dorm room where Willow stands alone, sitting on his bed, surrounded by his things, picking up one of his shirts and holding it close. That's so relatable. Anytime you have like somebody that's just not in your life anymore and you still have one of their items of clothes, you sometimes want to sniff it and shit like that. Or eventually you got to take it out in the backyard and burn it. Even though Oz has been gone for a few episodes now, Willow clearly hasn't moved forward, and she's still trying to hold on to whatever pieces of him she can. That's really what we get from this scene. All of his stuff's still there right now, too. And whenever I was watching it, I'm sitting here looking at it, and like it made sense later, and I'll make a comment back to it, but I was like, I hope Willow cut on all these lights to hang out in Oz's room, because whenever like it pans into the room where she's like seemingly just gotten in there, we don't get to see her flip on the switches, but like both the bed lamps are running. There's a lamp in the corner running, like the overhead lights on, and I was just like, damn, they wasting electricity up in this bitch. Like, that's damn bill. Oz don't even live here anymore. He's getting a fucking email like in his thing talking about his fucking Dominion energy bill is up $100 extra or something. He's talking about, how is my energy bill up and it's not the $35?
I cannot.
Listen, that's the way my adult mind frame works these days. I'm like, turn them lights off. You better not touch the thermostat. Like, that's my future dad vibes coming in. That obviously pans into the next scene where the next day on campus, Buffy finds Riley hanging a banner for the Lesbian Alliance, and she starts teasing him about it. This whole scene's so cute because she walks up to him and she like forces that joke with Riley where he apparently is a lesbian. He's like looking back at it and she's like, you just have something you want to tell me? And he's like,
oh, yes, I am a lesbian.
Oh, it's good that you're so open about it.
And I was like, look, Courtney's people being featured in the episode. Which is so nice because I mean, like the way they're framing Riley this episode, I feel like is super important, and I hope I remember to make a little comment later because I didn't write it, but I read it in some reviews, and it kind of like sparked this mindset on, you know, like the picnic they have later and some of the conversation and dialogue that's happening before things go crazy from Willow's spell on their side of things, these building blocks of their relationship. We see he's an advocate, which is great. You know what I mean? He seems supportive. Not only is he physically supporting these people hanging their banner, he physically is clearly on the alliance side of like LGBTQIA plus, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. All the things these days. Because, you know, I say this now, and by the episode comes out, there will be all these extra little things on top of that for our community.
You're not wrong.
Lich. The two walk and talk before Riley accidentally references a picnic conversation that they never actually had. Buffy points out that they've never talked about that picnic, which forces Riley to admit that he sometimes practices conversations with her beforehand in front of his mirror. So accurate. Like I've definitely had like dialogue in my head plenty of times, not necessarily practiced and rehearsed in front of a mirror, but I've, you know, we talked about this actually recently in another episode, and you were like, I'd be practicing fights and like talking about what I should have said afterwards and stuff, or I said that and you said, I'd be saying like, I should have said this and why the fuck did I didn't say that, and recreating a whole ass scenario and stuff like that. It's the whole thing.
It usually starts because I'm mocking someone that said something to me and I'm like, you know, and then I like fight back with something to myself in the mirror and I'm like, oh, that was good. I should have said that.
Yeah, and I'm going to continue to tie this, I guess, to that scene later. But
and
like
Riley's sitting there in the mirror, like, "Hey, Buffy."
Yeah, it's kind of cute. But listen, this frames him so differently from Parker, and like, or Buffy's past with like Angel in a certain way. He's just showing some sort of initiative towards her, and like what he does in his own personal life on his side of things. He's saying like, "This is kind of important to me, so I need to like get my words together because this girl kind of makes me feel flustered. She makes me feel like I have to like, hit the mark the right way, or else I might say the wrong thing and not get her attention the way that I want or something like that." That makes you something. I mean, just like when you're rehearsing for, you know, a play or like any kind of performance or something like that, you want to have that nailed and down, like, so that way it's really in your head the way you need to like do it. And that's cute, in my opinion, the way he's setting himself up for that. Buffy finds it pretty amusing and slightly concerning that he practices as such, and Riley explains that talking to her is intimidating because she's unlike anyone he's ever met. He stumbles his way through a compliment about how she's mysterious and then calls her beautiful, which makes her get the feels, and he again yet sort of intentionally brings up the picnic again. And so I guess they're going to have the picnic, as we'll see in a few scenes. That night, Buffy and Willow are patrolling, conversing about her upcoming picnic date with Riley. Oh yeah, so it is happening in a few scenes. One that can take place in the actual daylight. Very important here. Buffy admits she likes him. He's nice, attractive, funny, and surprisingly normal. And his arms, have you seen them? They're good arms to have, apparently. It's because he'd be doing them push-ups. You know,
I get the arm thing. I'd be looking at people's arms. I'm like, hey.
Yep. He need to get a couple tattoos to really stand out to me. But yeah. Either way, they're good arms to have, but that is actually part of the problem. Riley doesn't come with a giant warning label attached to him, so Buffy's a little unsure, and he isn't making her miserable, so she's more unsure.
Get out. Get out while there's still time.
Buffy starts questioning whether she's become so used to relationships involving pain and struggle, which leads her into the short visit with Angel in LA, aka Hello to the Pain, aka, you know, the one that was in her mind lasted 5 minutes, but it wasn't a whole day full of love and bliss. And you know, so much for not forgetting, because she's like, I'm gonna go and start forgetting. And I'm like, damn, you forgot a whole fucking day for real. But we know why. And that's terrifying and sad. But it's interesting how, like, we get this little quick moment. It kind of deflects away from everything that happened. It kind of cleans up that stuff. It kind of slaps us in the face as the viewer, because then we're like, no, that isn't what happened. You know, she goes, seeing Angel even for 5 minutes. I'm like, bitch, you were there all fucking day. Like, we know. Angel knows. Like, let Angel hear this little conversation. He can be like, okay, bitch. No, that's not what happened. He's like, yeah, 5 minutes, like, sure.
We know you don't know.
But, like, again, framing that mindset of her where she's like, I was so upset just by seeing him for 5 minutes. It was hard. So thank God she can't remember that fucking day. And then she goes on to wonder if the fire must come from heartache and fighting, questioning if nice, safe relationships can be that intense, admitting that part of her believes real love and passion must go hand in hand with pain and fighting. Like the little setup right there, because obviously a vampire jumps out and, you know, she stakes him with no hesitation, giving us the toothpaper slay of this guy. This vampire didn't even give a chance. Like, lets us know Buffy's on her shit. She's quick. She's also kind of like that whole moment where she's like, not now. I'm speaking, like in the sewers with Angel, whenever like they're having that intense conversation, that vampire drops down, they were hunting, and she's like, not now, bam, and then she goes right back into the conversation. I like that, but it also goes into play obviously with the like pain and fighting hand in hand kind of bullshit that we're dealing with as we lead up to it. I like how they do this writing. Chef's kiss. His death settles and they carry on, and she ponders where she gets that from. She gets it from all the trauma that she's imbued this whole season. Just been endowed with all the things, you know. But right now we have to endow the Buffy theme. So okay. That's the cat. Set the cat feeder meowing. At Giles' apartment, Spike remains chained up in the bathtub now. He's like moved from the chair now to here. I don't understand really exactly why, but maybe he needed to stretch his legs or something like that instead of being strapped to something. Buffy and Giles continue to try to get information out of him about the Commandos initiative, all that shit. Giles comes in with a cup of pig's blood and the now famous yellow Kiss the Librarian mug. Like, this is so iconic. I have the sticker on my laptop. Like, I'll have to show it to you the next time you come over. Super big thing in the Buffy fandom. And he leaves Buffy stuck feeding Spike through a straw with it. Like, he's kind of like talking behind her, which is kind of funny to see Buffy taking this position with Spike. Not only poor Spike, like, he's captured basically again. Like, I wonder if they had to help mend his holes for last episode when he got shot with all them damn arrows and stuff like that, or if they just let him sit in the chair and like heal at his own discretion. But at least now they're giving him blood, because obviously last episode he was bitching so much about getting fucking blood. So now they're doing this. But I also like wonder why Giles has this like who, I don't know, it kind of gives me like the idea that Willow sometime in high school gifted Giles this Kiss the Librarian mug or something like that, or maybe Jenny Calendar gave it to him, you know, because like Giles clearly didn't buy this for himself.
Yeah.
You know, and it would be kind of awkward. That's why I changed it to Jenny real quick, because it would be kind of awkward for Willow to give him this Kiss the Librarian mug. But maybe she gave it to him as a joke so that way he'd be drinking out of it in front of Jenny. She's like, I've been seeing that little green mug a little too much. Here's a yellow one. She said, I got it at Spencer's.
Maybe Ethan Rain gave it to him.
Oh, shit. Maybe so. I like that take. Damn, I haven't thought about him in a while. Well, Spike begins complaining about the blood, about the chains, about being questioned, about being alive, and how Buffy must have done this sort of things for Angel, which like halts her feeding his ass anymore. Buffy is not standing for that. She's like, I'm coming off this Angel trauma. You do not need to be speaking about him. Spike refuses to cooperate as they continue his interrogation, and the conversation eventually shifts towards Spike's inability to bite anyone. Buffy takes great pleasure in reminding him how powerless he's become. Flaccid even. Hey, watch it. Because Spike's rambling through his words. He's like, impotent, and he's like, hey. Like, they're just like one back out of the other. It's just like so funny. But also this like gives the Buffy the chance to expose her neck and kind of annoy him further while he's all chained up. And he wants nothing more than anything, as he's even up to this season been like, I want to kill the Slayer. I want to kill the Slayer. Now she's sitting here daunting and flaunting her fucking neck.
Giles, help! He's gonna scold me. You know what? I don't think you want us to let you go. Maybe we made it a little too comfy in here for you.
Comfy? I'm chained in a bathtub drinking pig's blood from a novelty mug. Doesn't rate huge in the 𝐒𝐤𝐬𝐬𝐬 guide.
You want something nicer? Look at my poor neck. All bare and tender and exposed. All that blood just pumping away.
Oh, please. Giles, make us stop.
All the blood going through my veins.
Just pumping away. And he's like leaning forward in the bathtub like like I just can't get to her, like, that's got to be so frustrating. And I love this interaction between them, especially how they're acting towards each other right now compared to how they end up acting the rest of the episode when they're like fake engaged. Or like, I guess that's real engaged, but like it's fake, obviously. Spike looks like he's ready to lose his mind while Giles tries very hard not to be a part of this conversation, and Spike pleads for him to make her stop as he exits the room. Out in his living room, we find him with Willow suggesting, using a truth spell to force Spike to answer their questions honestly. And this is the good way to center magic around in the episode. This is the healthy way to say, like, let's do a simple little spell to maybe make him talk. And Giles is clearly for that idea. And Willow offers to gather the ingredients from the magic shop and promises, she can stop by the next morning to help perform that spell. It's what'd she say? The donuts and motherwort. She's like, I'll be back with donuts and motherwort. But except for in my notes, I put it's the donuts and motherwort for her. That's so me coded. Like me stopping off for some snacks at Dunkin' or something like that, and then going off to Canterbury Emporium to go buy some incense and shit like that.
You leave and you're like, mate, I need some stuff for my altar, and then you come back and you're like, I got some donuts.
Literally, something, probably bagels, but gotta stop by Brugger's. None of the stuff that we've mentioned today, by the way, are ads. So.
We're not getting paid for this.
Unfortunately. Brugger's, please shout us out. We know you listen.
Just send us free bagels.
After Willow leaves, Giles informs Buffy of Willow's idea and notes her coping well with Oz's departure. Buffy agrees, and Spike clearly disagrees, and he starts to point out that Willow is hanging on by a thread and that neither Giles nor Buffy seem capable of seeing it. I love this, too, because, like, Spike is always that outside observer. He was calling the shit out in pangs about, like, what was going on with the energy of the Native Americans and what actually happened. He just seems to have, like I said, kind of that veil of, I wouldn't say insight, because I wouldn't call her insightful, but, like, the way Cordelia just kind of calls shit out and be like, no, actually, this is what it is. He's kind of calling out these things, but he's noticing like the interactions that he's seen with Willow or seen of her. He's like, that bitch is like, no, like what? Y'all talking about she's okay? I'm clocking it. I don't know how to like elaborate on that further, but it's interesting that it comes from Spike's viewpoint that he's like able to like look past the bullshit. Maybe it's because he's undead or wants these people dead.
Well, and because he's probably like, maybe he sees it as familiar because he was like that when Drusilla left him. So he's like, what are y'all saying? This is literally like me however many months ago or whatever.
I mean, kind of actually. I mean, you're not wrong. That is a fun little parallel to draw between him and Willow and their relationship, like breakups, because they were both really upset by the breakup and both caused some kind of bullshit to be happening. Because
I think that's usually how it is. Like that you can see when someone's like uncomfortable with something, especially. I think you can pick up on it faster if you've gone through it too, especially recently. Right. So you're kind of looking more and with a more observant eye, and you're like, oh no, wait, I see these signs. Like y'all might think she's acting normal because she's putting on a good face, but that.
And he doesn't spend every day with her the same way. Like that, they've kind of grown and been in the situation. He's the outer perspective, but he also has been sitting in this house a lot more now, watching these people kind of just operate their daily lives, and he's able to just collect data. So maybe he's like, okay, like he's seen all the stuff about everybody. So interesting. Later that night, Willow returns to Oz's room, only this time she finds it completely empty. Every trace of him is gone. The room that felt comforting before now feels hollow. Whatever hope Willow had been holding on to suddenly starts slipping away. And that's just like between those two scenes, you can't really get too much from it. She just walks in the room, sees some stuff. And the other like beginning of the episode, she has that small little moment. So I had to create something around that because that's what I kind of like saw in her expressions, the way she's feeling and stuff, because obviously Willow starts freaking the fuck out whenever she sees Oz's shit's gone. Like, I feel like it's really sad for her, because you can like tell she's been going back here now regularly, so I guess she is the one leaving those lights on. Like, she's just been like, like she's like, I'm gonna be back. She's like, maybe I'll leave the light on for Oz, you know, so when he comes home it's not dark. Or, you know, thinking about it in that mindset, I'm like, oh my god, it kind of fucked my head up a little bit. But like, obviously, as soon as she sees his stuff gone, panic mode switches on for her, because his stuff's not there anymore. She kind of didn't expect that. She had been familiarizing herself with coming back to this space and being able to sit here and still feel attached to Oz. But now it's like he cut the cord without even knowing that he was cutting the cord. He just needed his shit. He's like, I can't hang out with the same duffel bag that I've been hanging out with. I need my like shirts and shoes and stuff. He's like, by the way, Devin, can you please cut off the lights? Well, that light bill is too much for me right now. He's on my, I can't pay it. Yeah, but unfortunately, like, Willow has to deal with this now. So I mean, even though it's a smack to her face, like, she has to admit that he's really gone now in this moment, I feel like.
Yeah. Which sucks, but I don't know, it didn't seem like it was he sent someone. I don't know. I'm still confused about like how the condition of his room, basically.
Yeah, I mean, I guess he's got some really good friends, because obviously, like, in the next scene in the dorm room, it's like she's breaking down in front of Buffy and crying and explaining how she spoke with Devin, and he told her that Oz had sent for his belongings to, like, I guess be shipped out to him or something like that. Or Devin and a group of the band members from Dingo's Ate My Baby kind of came here and packed all his stuff up, and like they're gonna send it to him because he's saying he sent for his stuff. So like, I guess he finally just kind of needed it. And clearly, I mean, I don't know where Oz is. We don't really ever know or find out exactly, you know, where Oz is. This is the way to kind of, again, with the show's writing, to kind of clean up the Oz chapter 2 and just be like, no, he's gone. Because like you said, they left it kind of open for him to be able to kind of return.
Yeah.
But now they're kind of really trying to put it out there and sell that out.
They're trying to like close that chapter out.
I guess he had to be like...
I guess when at first glance, when she went into his room, I was confused because, and I know boys are boys, so they're not going to be like tidy and what they're doing,
just really
but they
clean.
like left his drawer like collapsed off, and like you can tell they just like ripped his posters off the wall because the tape in the little corner of the poster is still like on the wall, and I'm like, bro, what the fuck?
Yeah, they didn't care at all. You at least gotta like pick that up or like slice underneath it and then fold the tape over the corners and then roll the poster back up and shit like that. But how many times I used to do that all the time on my Chemical Romance posters. I used to just rip them shits off the wall when we went to move, and then I'd just tape them back up and the corners just wouldn't be there anymore. Like eventually over time it just appreciated in more angle and more angle.
I did too.
It's kind of like when you're trying to...
funny now that like I'm an adult, I'm like, bro, what do you do?
You ever try to do it with any of your labels or things like that, or like pictures of people or like whatever the case is, and you're trying to like cut the corners off of something and you end up making like one more overealer than the other or something like that? You have to cut a little more off, and then by the time you done sliced off like half the person's face because you keep trying to close in on it or something. That's kind of what it makes me think of that.
Yeah, like I was just going for a vintage look on my picture, and now it's half gone.
Well, honestly, that's kind of how I expect boys to get in here and do this and stuff. But I figured they'd leave a couple of things behind accidentally, not just like a little piece of paper taped to the wall.
Push the drawer. Why did you even take the full drawer? You can tell they just like took his drawer out and dumped them upside down in a box and didn't even put them back like on the tracks. They were just like, fuck it.
Oh, damn. I didn't even look at that, to be quite honest. I just looked at the fact that his room was empty. I didn't really spend time analyzing it. I love that you saw that the tape was still on the wall of the posters, because I didn't pay that attention.
No, it instantly, I think it's my tism. Like instantly I was like, oh my God, if I sent my friends and like one of my other friends was near the dorm that I stayed at, and they like sent me a picture of the condition of it, that it was left that way, and they're like, hey, your homies came and got your stuff, but this is what they did. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Last time we're talking.
Well, listen, this is upsetting for Oz, because not only is he getting all them calls and backlogs from fucking Dominion Energy or wherever the fuck he's getting his light bill from, he's also getting a fucking cleaning fee for his little room that he rented in the damn school too. Because I guess these are like little dorm rooms and stuff on campus somewhere.
Like, if that wasn't his furniture and that drawer and stuff belonged to them, he's definitely getting a bill for that.
I wonder if he was living with his bandmates or something like that too, and this was just like his room at their house, so they were able to pack it up pretty easily from her or something like that. They probably stole his posters and shit like that, to be quite honest. I don't know.
It looked like they stole all his shit. They're like, oh, you don't need it.
Oh, you know what? He actually called Sunday and her gang of friends and been like, can y'all go do y'all's thing on my room real quick? Psych, they're dead. That would be funny.
I don't know why, but when you said Sunday, I pictured Harmony, and then I was like, she probably dragging that shit to her like underground layer. Like,
this is becoming a little too unhinged for me, so we're gonna move along.
Keep going.
Willow has now realized that this means Oz is settling down elsewhere, and she admits feeling like she's been split in half and the part of her is missing, finally saying out loud to herself and Buffy that Oz is gone. And of course, I feel so bad for her when she's like, Oz is gone. Like, it's just the realizations there with it. I'm like, oh, poor Willow. But like, as everybody else, like this episode, I'm kind of like, I'm not this way, but everybody else makes the comment later. They're like, we're so over Willow acting this way, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, it's a little unfair, but at the same time, like, Buffy's on the same side of her. She's sitting with her friend, listening to her explain all this and stuff. But it's the first time Willow kind of like says those words. And I think that just adds more to what she's going through with her heartache. The next morning, Giles attempts to call Willow regarding the truth spell, but only reaches her answering machine. From the bathroom, Spike begins shouting complaints and demanding somebody turn on the television because he's missing fucking passions. This always kills me because like this becomes a regular bit on the show as far as the show that he likes. And I don't know about you, but my mom, her soap operas back in the day, she loved Days of Our Lives. And I distinctly remember watching so many episodes day by day, especially in the summertime. We had summer break. I'd be watching all the episodes of Days of Our Lives with her every day at 1 o'clock. And eventually at 2 o'clock, Passion started airing at like, I think it was like obviously around this time, like late 99 or early 2000. And I was so obsessed with like that storyline because Spike makes that comment or whatever about like Timmy's down the bleeding well, and if you make me miss it, like he's pissed off or whatever. Well, like eventually I'm all over the place. My mom used to have to record them for me because I really was into Passions, and she had to like VHS record them so that way when I got home from school in the afternoons on the weekdays I could watch them, which is so crazy. I was like 9 years old at this time, so I'm like obsessed with the show. But like him talking about Timmy the doll, Timmy was this little like doll that Agatha the witch on the show had conjured up to make him be like a real boy, like a little boy companion, and he was played like by with a boy with like dwarfism or something like that, and he ended up dying when he was like young. But like I loved all the witchiness and the stuff, and like I remember being so obsessed with like Teresa and Ethan. Teresa was this like Spanish girl that come from like lower class, you know, blue collar family, and Ethan I about said Ethan Crane, I think was his name. It was like Crane Enterprises, and like his family was like full of money and all this other stuff, and he had this like girlfriend that was like, you know, the hot blonde, very generic and stereotypical, and she was like always trying to source out little ways that she could break them up so she could steal Ethan away. And eventually she goes to Tabitha to like get her to work some kind of spell work to make him like become obsessed with
all
like,
the good things for soap opera.
And there was more, but like that was my shit. Like I love Days of Our Lives too, but I absolutely was obsessed with Passion. So anytime Spike makes jokes about Passion on the show, I'm just like, I know exactly what he's talking about, because I remember the episode he's talking about where Timmy was trapped in the damn well. Like I totally remember that. Either way, this isn't Passions, this is Buffy. Giles brings up how they need to do the spell soon so he can actually shower, and not in the form of Spike's tongue, because you know he's hollering and stuff or whatever, and Spike's like, you know, if you make me miss it, and he's like, you'll do what, lick me to death? Like, your threats are empty, Spike. No, not happening today. Meanwhile, on campus, Buffy and Riley enjoy their picnic, conversating about driving. Buffy admitting to him driving isn't really her thing, as we all know, because, you know, Buffy and cars are mixy things. She says this, but we know this because we saw what we saw in Band Candy of what the fuck happens when Buffy gets behind the wheel, and we made plenty of comments back then. And I love how Buffy goes, well, I took the class, and I'm like, yeah, but you didn't get the license. Like, clearly, so you failed. Like, you will mention that to Riley? She's just like nonchalant about it. Buffy.
It's like the only thing her and Cordelia have in common.
Literally, though. But also, thank God for Riley talking about, like, you know, within this dialogue being like, he sees the driving as freedom, and he likes to take, like, you know, long roads and, like, just feel the wind on your face, like, you know, have nowhere particular to be, which is a fun drive to, like, do. That's honestly why I take the back route whenever I have to go certain places. Like, you know, when we going from, like, Sumter to back to Charleston and stuff, taking those back roads through the countryside and stuff versus being on the interstate is so much more of a vibe. It's a little like escape kind of moment. So I feel Riley for that. But obviously it becomes like very flirtatious along the conversation about teaching Buffy how to drive. And that's my main point, relating it back to what I was saying, is like, thank God someone's finally going to teach Buffy how to drive, apparently. So like, well, I don't think we ever really see Buffy behind the wheel of a car again in any way, shape, or form. But I'm just like, oh, okay. But I also wrote my notes too, continuing that. I was like, not just a car, but I guess his dick too, because Buffy's over here talking about like, she's talking about, we are talking about driving, right? And he's like, well, I thought I was. And she's like, oh. Before Miserella shows up, let's really quickly talk about that too. Like, this is kind of where I just want to add to what I've been saying about Riley and Buffy. Like, him expressing this, she kind of is taking the flirtatious route with this conversation. She's kind of bringing up sex or like attraction in that sort of way because of the fact the way he's describing driving. Obviously it can be like an innuendo for sex or something like that, but he kind of says, you know, I wasn't talking about that, which is kind of like I mean, I'm sure if she pressed the issue, he would like go down that route too, but he kind of like flipped and reframed it to say like, no, I want to teach you one day, like type of thing, versus like really honing in on that. So it kind of shows again that he's more of a gentleman dude. He also kind of like what I saw in one of the reviews, they were talking about how like Riley knew of Buffy and Parker's relationship and where she kind of comes off of that with him and being treated the way that she was, because he heard from Parker's mouth how he was talking about women, and he did not stand for that. So he really is trying to court Buffy in the best way possible. So he's trying to like say like, hey, you know, a date for me with you doesn't look like just hooking up or doing this. It's like, let's go take a drive together. Let's have a picnic. Let's do things the way a person that should be like initiating a relationship versus a fling with somebody. Yeah. So I appreciate Riley for like this little thing. And that opened up my mindset of this, because like I already know that, but like just reading that within the reviews and stuff, I was like, oh my god, that's totally an actual point, you know. Like I appreciate him for this, because Buffy needs that versus where she's come from with both of her relationships. They were pretty much toxic on both sides of it. Even this relationship in this episode with Spike is toxic. They're fighting and arguing the whole fucking time, which makes it so funny, because it's like you take mortal enemies and you put them together, and then like this is what you get from it. So yeah, that's true. Can we also just say that Buffy's hair is phenomenal this episode? This little like kind of crimped wavy thing, like they braided her hair or something. And like, so pretty. Yeah. I've never seen her hair like this before. They've done like ugly curls on her back in season 2, but this is not it. Like they've come up. The hair department's doing good things. Just like, you know, back in භᴜᴜ, they were doing bad things with hair. So, but they won an award for it. So whatever. Well, Willow eventually wanders over and joins them, bringing 𝑚izarella vibes. She insists that she's doing okay, but it's obvious to both Buffy and Riley that she is not. The conversation becomes awkward while Willow tries to participate, but she's again a 𝑚izarella, and they just end up kind of sitting awkwardly together before we cut right to that night at the Bronze. That whole scene is awkward because like they were having such a good time, and then Willow come up, which she's like, your apples are turning brown the way that apples do.
Okay.
Also, like the comment too, it didn't make it in my quotes, but like Riley, when he was talking about the picnic, he was talking about, I'll bring the food, like maybe we can have some ants, like, you know what I mean? Like it's just cute. I just thought about that because Willow comment on the fucking apples and shit. She's pointing out all the things that are awful, like not something, not being like, well, we need to eat these apples before they go brown. Like she's just like, let me point out the saddest fucking thing right now. Like I'm just like, Willow, you need to get the fuck out of here.
Poor Willow.
Okay, you need to go to Bronze, get drunk. So, at the Bronze, Xander and Anya sit with Buffy as she tells them about Oz nabbing his stuff, and they're feeling bad for Willow and wondering how she's dealing with it. Before Buffy can tell them, they assume that she's handling it just fine. They eye her out on the dance floor. I've never seen Willow dance like this. She's just flailing her arms around and like really getting it. And this is fun because like she's getting it to All the Small Things by Blink-182. So that was a fun little popular song that was on. Clearly, they did not have the budget for the episode to have Blink-182 performing at the fucking Bronze like they would normally have people, so they were just playing songs. But I did not expect it. I had forgotten the song was in there. I was like, oh shit. She spots them and comes over to them, talking about like, you know, come out and boogie with me, talking about also how she's like been self-reflected and decidedly against being miserable over the situation she's been confronted with. Until she goes to grab her jacket and the bottle falls out from underneath it. And everyone realizes what's really happening, aka Willow is drunk. She is not doing better. And they speak to her drowning her sorrows not being the way. I mean, look at Buffy when she had her adventures with beer. Buffy's like, y'all remember when Buffy went 4,000 years BC or whatever the fuck she said? I was like, oh my God, I have to call out like journey on the beer. But it's interesting, again, framing and like paralleling Buffy's journey with beer and like coping and stuff like that. Because that's how she was dealing with the Parker aftermath and that like breakup, if we want to call that with that, like very synonymous with each other. Xander attempts to take away the alcohol, which earns him a hostile response, a passive-aggressive response at that.
Well, how about you give me that beer?
No. Why should I? I've got pain here. Big time, legitimate pain.
We all have pain, Will.
Oh, like what? Oh, poor me. I live in a basement. Yeah, that's dire.
It was uncalled for, but also great.
Thank you. That's what I was going to say. Xander walks off because he gets rightfully pissed off by this, and Buffy decides enough is enough and expresses getting Willow back to the dorm before she loses her friends. I like that comment. She's like, you'll thank me when you have a friend in the morning. And that kind of like, thankfully Willow's not so drunk that she's not like, because some people by that point, they're like, fuck it, I don't give a fuck. Willow's like, checks herself sort of, because then she starts to admit, she's like, I just want the pain to stop. She's like, I just feel so fucking bad. Like now I'm lashing out on my friends. She's having a realization. And Buffy promises that it'll go away with time. And Willow comments that she doesn't want to journey through it. She just wants it to go away like poof, because she says so. Which is a little foreshadow for what exactly is going to happen the rest of the episode. Later that night, after Buffy falls asleep, or I guess in 2 seconds, Willow lies awake before quietly grabbing items from her magic chest, heading into the bathroom, where we next find her sitting surrounded by candles and magical ingredients, performing an I will it so spell, asking that her will become reality. The spell ends with a burst of electric magical energy, and I guess we got it rolling, because clearly it's initiated. My first thoughts every single time I get to the scene is, what in the fucking hell? Like, how has no one walked in this bathroom in the middle of the fucking night? It's a public restroom in the dorm. To catch her doing this, like, how are fire alarms not going off from all the damn candles lit in this damn hot ass room? And she's just in here in her pajamas at 3 a.m. performing a fucking magic spell. Like, are you serious?
I love how she randomly got out of bed too, and she's like, looks at Buffy and she's like, all right, I'm gonna go do this real quick. Like, she's gonna go take a shower or something.
Buffy had to have heard that shit. Buffy's got Slayer hearing and like Slayer senses. She knew someone was creeping around that damn bedroom. Like, either that or Buffy's like over there clonked out.
I'm like, is everyone on the floor in a coma? Like, how
That's what I'm saying. How did no one have to go to the bathroom or coming home late from a late night or a party or something?
Like,
no one saw her in the hallway dragging her whole fucking trunk down the fucking hallway. Because you know that shit's heavy. She takes so many items in here. She's got the dish on the floor. She done poured fucking red.
She dropped something.
clankers everything. That should trip me out. But like, also, am I supposed to believe that Willow had, and I counted 21 red candles just chilling in that trunk? That she just had all the ingredients for this specific spell. I'm just like, of course, plot convenience. But I'm just like, bitch, like, you had to take a couple trips, unless you have like a little bag that you packed all these fucking candles in this damn dish and all these other things like you took in there. No. And she got in the bathroom and then realized that she didn't take the lighter, so she had to go sneak back into the damn room and go back down the hallway, hoping no one saw her setup. Like, how are you explaining this?
Candles, she definitely made a few trips anyway. So.
Thankfully, it's Sunnydale, so if someone did walk in the bathroom, they probably just went, huh, that tracks, and then walked back out. They're like,
well, that's what I was gonna say. Maybe if someone did wake up and even see her, she's probably done practice this a few times, like practice some rituals and spells. They're like, oh, it's just Willow doing spells again.
This is
totally disregard it. They're like, they hope that she like burns part of the bathroom down so they have to close school tomorrow.
Yeah. So obviously the episode flips you on a dime, because you really don't expect, like, you think that maybe, I don't know, did you assume that something was going to go wrong with her spell, or did you just assume that she was casting a spell to make her pain go away and it was just going to be like, quote unquote,
I didn't know what was going to happen per se, or like what the actual intended purpose of her spell was supposed to do, or if it was even supposed to like work right away. But I didn't think it was gonna. Naturally, I thought it was going to be the culprit of all the problems in the episode. So
yeah. And it's interesting too,
like, this is the beginning of the end.
I think it's interesting to frame it because, like, going back, as like we've seen, Willow's tried to use magic when she's flustered or upset or in a different mind space, which obviously Giles speaks to coming into the next scene. But like, she's performing this spell, and the spell does work. It does take hold, but like, it works in more of an opposing way that she doesn't expect it to happen. It comes when she's lashing out versus whenever she's like focused and in a nice mindset. Because obviously the next morning, we find her testing it, and she's like trying to make her pain go away, and nothing happens because she's like, what the fuck? I don't remember all the things she did. She's like looking in the mirror and she's like,
it is my will that my heart be healed. Now, I will that this book speak its words to me. I will that this Q-tip gets unbendy.
and it's just not happening. The spell is refusing to cooperate with her, and that it kind of makes you think, and it makes her think that the spell has failed. She's convinced by that point that it's not working, So like, we're kind of like, oh, and nothing happened, but you see all those showy effects and the static electricity that shoots out from the spell, and you assume like, oh shit, wait, hold on, something had to have happened, Giles arrives wanting to know why she never showed up to like do the truth spell, and it starts as a conversation and becomes more of an argument between the two because of the spell that she did before. She like makes a comment about the spell, and of course Giles suggests that she takes a step back while she's emotionally vulnerable and unfocused, which is a good angle because he knows what it's like firsthand to be doing magic whenever you shouldn't really be doing it. Like, speaking of Ethan Rain, like all the shit he used to do in the past, he's come from like the dark track of magic, and he's also been that kind of guiding light for her to say like since the beginning, just as much of a mentor to her through magic and like giving her these things whenever, you know, in season 3, whenever she's like making those comments about what she's been doing with magic and being like, oh, did you know that this stuff when you smudge it with like a virgin saliva, and she's like, it does nothing, I know anything about it. He's like, Willow, what have you been conjuring? Like he's always kind of like trying to like look out for her in this way and be like, no, you need to be more focused. You know, if anything, he's not saying don't do magic, he's just like do it the right way. So like it comes back for that. Willow seems to be hearing more criticism than concern because that's all Giles is trying to be, is concerning over it. And she argues that everyone expects her to simply get over Oz and move on. Giles insists that's not what he's saying, that he can see what she's going through, but Willow is too frustrated to listen, and she snaps at him.
No, you don't. You say that you do, but you don't see anything.
Oh, sorry.
And then of course, when she says it, we see that fucking lightning flash, like that blue reminiscent of her spell from the night before, go through her eyes, which is a fun little way to show every single time she's doing the spell, we get a focus on her face and see her eyes like charge up. So she can't see that it's happening, and nobody else happens to catch it in these moments either to know that this is an issue. And then we see that Giles appears affected, removing his glasses, kind of pinching at his eyes as something's gone wrong with his vision, apologizing before leaving, noting that they can continue this talk later. And out in the halls, he bumps into a student, and it's clear that his vision in some way has been affected or starting to wane or whatever the case. Obviously, it takes a while for him to not have his vision fully at some point, but I thought it was interesting. I thought maybe he would just go blind. But again, it's trying to like breadcrumb us to be like, hold on, he's been affected in some way. Like, what is going on? Like, what is happening?
I thought he was literally going to be like instantly blind because I picked up obviously like what was happening, and I was like, is he even gonna make it out of there?
Barely, clearly. But it kind of starts the funniest thing through the whole episode now that he's kind of going blind. I love even like Giles is blind the whole fucking episode, he's just still making like hardcore quips and like being sarcastic as fuck. Like no which I'll kind of say in a way now too, like someone that also said in the reviews that it kind of is fucked up. I see it differently, and I'll talk about that a little bit later, but Giles for sure, out of the 3 people that she affects truly within her spells work, like Giles kind of gets it in the worst that way because he can't take he can't really help the group anymore because he's always the knowledge and research guys. And if you think back to the episode Nightmares back in season 1, he had a dream that he got lost in the stacks when Billy was doing that nightmare thing, and he also was afraid or like had a nightmare that he couldn't read anything. So he's not able to do anything to help the group, and this is kind of stemming off of the fact that he already feels left out because he's not Buffy's watcher anymore. He doesn't work at the school, so he already feels lost in life, and now he's lost in literalness because he can't fucking find his way around because this motherfucker's gone blind. Like that's kind of fucked up, you know what I mean? That is fucked up, yeah. Once again, power in your words can hurt people. And we don't want to hurt Giles of all people. Either way, back at his home, he attempts to perform the true spell himself, which is so funny because he's like trying to read the book.
Enemy, be now quiet.
You know, not too keen about this spell stuff. Tends to be a bit unpredictable.
So you might have thought about that sooner. Let your deceitful tongue be broken. Let no untruths spoken.
And he's fumbling around. He accidentally drops the key on the floor too. That's to Spike's restraints. And of course, Spike uses this moment because he's like trying to like fuck around with him and keep him distracted and act like he's caring in any way, shape, or form. And gets the fucking key off the ground, escapes from Giles's house. And of course, that's the last thing kind of really Giles sees is Spike bombarding his ass. And I guess Spike still like is unaffected enough to where he can kind of shove someone out the way without getting hurt. But he doesn't care. He just wants to get the fuck out of there. Like, I'm like, Spike, you probably could have just told them to let you go or like whatever. But I guess this is his way out. So he got out. But it also kind of is fucked up because now Willow's spell is also having repercussions on this energy. Like they've been trying to hold Spike back because they're trying to figure out what's going on with him, what's going on with the initiative. And clearly he's not talking. You know what I mean? That's the whole point of the truth spell. And now Spike's out in the fucking real world again. So now Buffy has to go hunt his ass down if that's really the route they want to take. Or now it's just a lost cause. They're back at square one with finding out information that they could actually use as potential to like know what's going on possibly with these commandos or know of Spike's experience, you know?
Yeah.
So Willow's affecting a lot, is the point. Back at the dorm, Willow continues venting to Buffy while cleaning Amy's rat cage. Willow insists she isn't much of a witch. If she could, she would have made Oz stay with her or done that spell on Veruca. Let Oz and Veruca's deceitful hearts be broken. It's like my favorite part. I'm going to remember that for life. Or make her will it so spell work. But no. And goes to point out how Amy has always been a more talented witch than she is. She just like has beyond reached levels that she could never just imagine. I like how they put this in here just because obviously we're about to lead into the next statement. But whenever Willow was sleeping, or Willow wasn't sleeping, Buffy was sleeping, before she got all the spell ingredients, we passed by like Amy's rat cage in the room. So we're like, oh, they're Amy the rat. Like, you know what I mean? Like, whatever.
I know,
it lets you know of the
that.
presence. So that way, in case you kind of forgot, you've been like, shown that the rat's still a thing.
They still
so
have Amy.
So that way you have the lead up to this scene. And then she's also talking about like kind of reminding you on what happened with Amy too. But like in this scene specifically, she's cleaning the rat cage and they've set the damn rat on the bed. Like the rat's just supposed to chill there. If I was a rat, like anytime I put my lizards on the bed, they would try to climb off that shit. Like I can't not watch them. Either the cats are trying to get them or something's going on, or I have to put them on my shoulder or some shit like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But either way, it's cute because the rats sit back there on the bed and Willow refers like, first she's a normal girl and fucking Amy's right back into Amy, and Amy's face is the best part of this bit because she looks around and she's like, oh my god, like I'm fucking back. And then Willow just goes, but then she's a rat, and right back down to a fucking rat. And the best part about this is neither of them fucking notice that Amy came back into the room, but she saw both of them. Like it's so fucked up, which is interesting too because it kind of lets you know that Amy like is cognizant of the fact that she's a rat. Like she's watching life go around them. Like we made jokes I think back in the day about like whenever Oz and Willow's fucking by her cage, that rat Amy's watching them smash and shit like that. You know what I mean? Like she clearly has a memory because she wouldn't be that excited to be back if she didn't have some kind of memory coming back from that statement.
Totally.
She would have looked more confused or something like that. She literally looked so happy in that moment that she was back, and then it's taken from her. And it's kind of the funniest way, but like it kind of is also cute because the show is like saying like, hey, we haven't forgot about Amy and we don't want you guys to forget about her either.
Yeah, it was a great thing to throw in there, and also so unexpected because at this point, like, you're aware of the fact that her spell is doing something somewhere because here Giles is having all these complications, but then they throw that in, and you're not expecting to see her be cognitive either, like you're saying. So it's almost like as quick as it happens, you instantly start feeling bad because you're just like, I wonder what she thought in that second. Like, you know, all these emotions were just surging through her where she's like, yes. You know, and then like just like that, it's over, and then she's probably like, "Oh."
Listen, wouldn't it have been so funny if whenever she went back to the rat, the fucking rat walked over to Willow and started like yanking on her fucking hair or some shit, like being like, "Bitch, what the fuck?" Like,
I know.
that poor damn rat. Oh my god, that's so funny. The phone rings and it's Giles telling Buffy of Spike's escape, and now Buffy needs to head out to find him. Willow complains because she wanted to spend some time with Buffy and also just like get her mind off of this stuff, but Buffy insists that she has to go. As Buffy leaves, Willow sarcastically remarks,
I don't see the big. He's probably just standing out there. You'll find him in 2 seconds.
and with another magical flash in her eyes once more, sure enough, Buffy outside finds Spike in 2 seconds. Both of them are confused as fuck in this scene because Spike has clearly been teleported to where he was not, because he's like, hey, wait a minute, like what the fuck's happening? And convinced that he's discovered the location also of the initiative. So that must have been where he was before he like got there, and he's like fucking digging frantically at the ground. He's like, fix me, and like all this other stuff. He's like, it was right here, I know it. And Buffy's like, I don't think so. Like, that's the fucking ground, bro. Like, what are you talking about? Buffy seems less than impressed with him and eventually drags him back to Giles' apartment after Spike once again proves the chip is still working. I say that because like this shit's so funny because in the conflict, Buffy is trying to collect him and he's not budging, and he hits her and grabs his head in pain because he's kind of forgotten that he can't punch her. But then she follows up with a punch to his nose and he drops down and grabs his fucking nose. He's like, oh! he's just like getting fucked
The way
up.
he grabbed his face was so hilarious. I
Yep.
was dying.
She carts him back to Giles' house and she comes in with him, and Giles is in the bathroom applying eye drops while Buffy argues with Spike. And I like that too because they're just bickering.
One more word and I swear.
Swear what? You're not going to do anything to me. You don't have the stones.
Oh, I got the stones. I got a whole bunch of stones.
Yeah? You're all talk.
Giles! I accidentally killed Spike. That's okay, right?
Just a minute.
He's not paying any attention because he's so worried about his eyes.
So bad.
At Xander's, he listens to Willow complain about Buffy leaving, intercutting between Buffy and Spike's face at Giles speaking to how she's just itching to slay his ass. Xander tries reassuring Willow back at his place that Buffy had to get Spike back, not because he's more important than her, but it's because they need the info on the initiative and the commandos, aka right now Buffy needs Spike. Willow isn't interested in hearing it, as if she is not anything else this episode, and bitter and frustrated, she comments,
Well, fine. Why doesn't she just go marry?
and with a flash of her magical eyes, back at Giles, he comes into the living room asking Buffy and Spike to remain civil for a bit, and he did not realize within his statement that this was like the new way of civil for them, because he notices Spike down on one knee proposing to Buffy with one of his rings. Buffy is so taken aback, but she does accept, and even if it's sudden, she embraces Spike and kisses him passionately. Like, Giles can at this point still see a little bit, and she's like holding out her ring and being like announcing like, you know, fucking that they're engaged, and he's just standing there looking at the two of them completely unable to process what the fuck he's looking at. I need to know what the fuck you were processing when you saw this fucking scene.
I mean, clearly we know that they're under this spell that Willows put out, so it's all kind of taken lightheartedly, but it's also hilarious because of how much they typically really hate each other. And coming from the beginning of the episode, even where Buffy's like teasing him with her neck and like telling him that's enough with the pig's blood, and kind of like, you know, just making his situation a lot less comfortable for him. And to go from that to this, and then be so sincere in their acting too, where you genuinely feel like they're all of a sudden super like obsessed
They're
and in
wrapped
love
up
with each
in
other.
it.
Yes. Oh my god. And I wish I could have just been like in Giles's body experiencing the real-time exposure to that, because I would have been like, either I've entered a time warp reality, I've entered a portal to another dimension. Like, I would have thought something was wrong with me.
Yeah.
You know, because I'm like, here I am, I'm already going blind.
That's probably what he thinks is happening.
And now this is happening, and I've entered opposite day. Like, this is actually opposite day.
I like it too because by this point, like obviously between the stuff that like happened with Giles, the fact that we saw what happened with Amy and all this other stuff going on, we've been seeing that Willow's casting this like magic or whatever, and especially with the cue of the magical flash of her eyes and stuff, and just like getting that moment where she's like, why don't you just go and marry him? I remember the first time I watched it and I was just like, oh fuck. And like obviously we get some cutscene transition magic right over to the moment of this occurring, you know what I mean? But like as soon as you have it, you're like, oh my god, like what the fuck is about to go down, you know? Hilarity pretty much for the most part, because this is so funny. Willow continues talking with Xander. He keeps trying to reassure her that she'll feel better eventually and that one day she'll meet somebody else. Willow isn't interested in hearing any of it. Instead, she starts listing Xander's own relationship history.
Oh yeah, let's look at your bio. Insect lady, mummy girl, Anya. You're a demon magnet.
Hey, I was just trying to help.
And we hear the magical flash cue because we're not looking at her, we're looking at Xander during this, and he doesn't really have a counter argument. Also, I love the fact that we have this little moment where like we're talking about Natalie French again, we're talking about the fucking mummy girl, and it once again grows in the fucking pattern. Like we've spoken, and now Willow's kind of spoken it, so we know that the show is aware and they're friends that Xander literally always dates demons, like, or like evil monster women, you know what I mean? It's just a tracking pattern for him. I just think it's funny that when this occurs, he's not attracting female demons the whole fucking episode or something. It's all like just demons in general because he's a demon magnet. Back at Giles, Spike and Buffy are curled up together on the couch discussing wedding plans while Giles attempts to call Willow, leaving a concerned message explaining that he's like, something very strange has happened. Like, it's like horrific even. Like, obviously it's happened to him and to Buffy. Buffy serves Spike more blood in his mug. The wedding planning is commencing as they speak to dates and times for the ceremony. Buffy having the bright idea of a daytime wedding is best. Under shady tree coverage, of course, because, you know, Spike is continually fighting back on the fact that he's like, I'm going to die at this fucking event. Like, this is going to be the marriage from hell that I don't make it through. AKA, they're going to be registering as Mr. and Mrs. Big Pile of Dust. She's like, oh no, we'll just do it under trees, we'll be shaded, there'll be no sun cast near us. And he's like, okay, but we get a one gust of wind and again Mr. and Mrs. Big Pile of Dust. I'm like, oh. Giles sitting down with a drink as the two bicker, which turns into more of that lip of Buffy Spike wants to get. He's like, look at that lip, can I get it? And I'm like, ugh. Like, I want to throw up so bad at like the way they're acting. Like, I totally get Giles's stance and everyone else's once they come into this too. But I like how in this moment too, Buffy's like, stop. And Giles is like, yes, please stop. And then they like ask Giles if he, she's like, Giles, did you see my ring? He goes, thankfully not very well. I don't think that's in my quotes, but like, it's so hard with an episode like this to just write out the script and not be like writing down like the words word for word, because like I could be here all day doing that. But I was like, I have to note what's going on in this scene because it's so funny. Like, it's cringy with the Buffy, like, or Spike being like, the lip, can I get it? And then like just the way that they're framing the verbiage around Giles going blind too. Like, it was just so funny. It was a slap in the face for me. I was just like, shut the fuck up. Buffy moves over to sit and speak with Giles on what she for sure thinks it would be his disapproval of her and Spike getting married, but begins to ask if he'll give her away on the day since she has a shitty father. And it's cute because like everyone always loves this, like as far as I know in the fandom, like just that brief second where like he seems touched by the fact that Buffy would acknowledge because of her dad's not around and stuff like that. She's like, I see you as a father figure. That sentimental kind of music even cues in with it. And he puts his hand on her shoulder and he's like, oh, Buffy, that's fucking insane. Like, what is wrong with you? Because obviously he remembers that none of this makes sense and he points it out to her, and Spike comments, Giles like, we'll get used to the idea, and they move from planning the ceremony to discussing former relationships when Buffy brings up everyone not being a fan of Angel at first either, which naturally irritates Spike at the mention of him. And like, I love how he's noticed, like, they go back and forth with each other.
Why don't we talk about where we're going to register?
Well, where would Angel like to register? And can we have the photographer Angel would have wanted and flowers Angel would have liked?
Hey, you think I don't live with the shadow of Drusilla over my head? That I'm not wondering if you're going to be thinking of her on our honeymoon when you're making sweet love to me?
I'm like, no. I was like, y'all will not be fucking on your wedding night. Y'all are not fucking on the show ever. That is gross. Like, I do not want Spike and Buffy together, okay? Like, this is just not happening. Thank God we got it here, because no, I do not need this shit. Like, the fuck? But also so fun, like, because this is how a relationship would work too. Like, they would be bickering about their exes and stuff like that.
Hell yeah.
And it is kind of fucked up too, because now Buffy's kind of, even in this parallel universe of this day, like, which is funny also because this is 2 episodes in a row where Buffy's like goes through this, like, the events of something that she like technically shouldn't remember and doesn't need to remember. That's fucked up. Point though, let's get back into the episode is what the point is. I feel like I could get lost just like talking about this shit. This really is an episode we should have watched together so we could have just laughed in person and died. We could have watched it twice.
Yes. Let's watch it right now.
All right, cool. Stop episode. The argument turns into more kissing at the thought of sweet love making, and Giles reaches for his glass on the table but knocks it off. This is fucked up because this is where we realize that it's really gone from him. He does not have eyesight anymore, and Buffy's concerned if he's okay, and like I said, he's realized he's completely blind and convinced that a spell is involved. Spike offers surprisingly practical suggestions looking through books to help him, since he should be helping his soon-to-be father-in-law. As Buffy comments, she will go back to the magic shop for supplies and Spike can look after Giles. Making out with Spike some more, noting that they're one big happy family now. Giles, unconcerned, blindly leading himself towards the kitchen because he's like 100% done with this, but he's 100% also got more scotch. He's like, no worries, I've got more scotch. Like, I've got to go continue to get fucking drunk because I need it, you know? Like, and he's blind now too, so he's like kind of like feeling the walls as he walking towards the kitchen. I was like, thank God he knows the layout of his home and his took place while he was at home. Out on Main Street, Buffy exits the magic store, but spots a wedding dress displayed in a store window and can't help but stop it to admire it. As she's standing there, Riley happens to walk by and catches her in this moment. Buffy casually tells him that she's getting married, and Riley assumes that Buffy's joking, because duh, but Buffy assures him that she's completely serious. When Riley asks who she's marrying, Buffy proudly tells him, I love the way she goes, Spike. And he's like, the fuck kind of name is that? He's like, is that a dog? Like, you know, what the fuck is that? He just stares at her waiting for like the punchline, and obviously there isn't one. And Buffy starts talking about the wedding and Spike and their future together, while Riley goes just more and more confused by the passing second, because he's like, what the fuck has happened? I was just on a date with you earlier today, like, and now all of a sudden you're getting married. Like, I don't get what. But like, some people throw you for a loop for shit like this, you know what I mean? They're seeing you as an option, but they've been dating 3 other people and they chose the other guy instead of you, and this is unfortunately how you find out. It's kind of like what's probably going on in his head. He tries making sense of the situation and quickly realizes that there's absolutely no sense to be made, except Buffy apparently dates questionably much older men and might be insane, because those are 2 things that come up in the dialogue of the show. Because she's like, not as old as my last boyfriend, and I'm like, oh my god, it's like obviously he was like 100 years older than Spike was, and I'm just like, ew. And he's like, are you insane? And she's like, what? In that light, though, he's gonna go away, far away, and Buffy can stay here and have her happy day ruined. I like that, because he goes to leave and he's just like confused, and she's like, you're ruining my happy day. And I'm like, how is he ruining it, bitch? Just go think about Spike again and you're gonna be right back on fucking track. This bitch is insane though. Oh my god. At Xander's, he and Anya are trying to enjoy some time alone together, with or without fruit roll-ups. Love that so much for us, because I immediately thought back to us and how we used to eat fruit roll-ups all the time when we lived together. But I also love how like Xander's mom, apparently anytime he has company over at the house, she wants to offer food and drinks to his guests, but they want to charge him rent and all this other shit, like be bitches to him all his life. But apparently when he has friends over, like, you know, they had to treat Willow well every time she was over there, you know what I mean, like giving her free food and all this other stuff. Like, they put
obviously look at her, look at his damn mom. What was she? Oh yeah, well, she was bringing them snacks and fruit rolls. Like, first off, that is a great parent to have. Not only is she letting you live in her basement, but she's bringing you fruit rolls.
And she offering Giles damn
like you're 12
fruit punch and shit. She's like, Xander, honey, I made some fruit punch if you and your friend want some. Like, I don't know. It's so comical. But before the 2 can get on with their makeout sesh with Xander's fruit roll-up lips of love, because he's like, just think of my lips as the fruit roll-ups of love. And I'm like, could we not? How about that, actually? Before they do that, a demon attacks, and the 2 are forced into a fight and barely manage to get rid of it before another one appears. Anya coming in hot with the demon knowledge, too, because she's like, oh, that's a Sapporo demon. The only way to kill it's drowning it. And I was like, okay, awesome. Love that. But then is this for plot convenience that there's just a fucking sink full of water over here that they ram the demon's face down into? I was just like, what were they doing with that water? Why was it filled up in the sink? Like, again, plot convenience, but I need to know, because no one just has a sink full of water over here unless Xander like was running to water to do some of his dishes or some shit like that. Like, now his mom's gonna be bitching as fucking Daniel's worried about the damn power bill, and his mom's gonna be worrying about the damn water bill at this house because Xander over here wasting damn water. Unless this is his pool of water he likes to go splash on his face or something. I don't fucking know. Does he bathe in that sink? Like, are they not letting him use the shower upstairs?
Probably not.
He got a nasty ass dick. He down here trying to talk about fruit roll-ups of love. You know his dick don't smell like a fruit roll-up. Like,
why do we have to go there?
I don't know, but if we want to talk about fruit roll-ups and get back on the better side of things, last week at school, I went in the cabinet because we have like snacks like peanut butter and things like that. They're like little things that you can have for the school, and I found a little container that had fruit roll-ups and Gushers in it, and I ate like 3 of them fruit roll-ups, and I hadn't had a fruit roll-up, like, I can't remember, maybe like when me and Austin was dating, like in 2017 or 18 was the last time I probably had a fruit roll-up. Like, I can't remember the last time. And then before that, it was in 2011 with you.
Oh my god,
that's forever.
I guess that happens. Yeah, I mean, I had some recently, but before that, it definitely had been like
hot minute. I don't eat stuff like that anymore. You know, I don't mind it.
I don't even really think
I source
about
out chocolate or certain other things. If I want like a sweet treat or something like that, I usually choose a little bit healthier of a route versus like hardcore red dyed, like fucking crazy toxic taffy candy or whatever the fuck that is. Like,
no, I hear you.
Either way, he's curious what the hell is going on while they flee the basement. Back at Giles, Buffy has returned empty-handed after learning the magic shop won't have what they need until the next day. And of course, I had to get literal again because I was like, they got a shipment coming in overnight. I was like, is it going to be there in the morning? Did the lady tell her like she's waiting on an Amazon order that's going to get delivered tomorrow? Like, I'm bringing all the stuff from today into like 1999 when Amazon was not even a thing. Dominion Energy probably wasn't even a thing. Oh my God. But Buffy did have time to pick up one of those male-female wedding cake toppers, apparently, because her and Spike are fucking around, but she's like, dum-dum-da-dum, up his arm with that damn thing. And I was like, ugh. And then they start joking about, like, smearing blood on the guy's mouth, because Spike's like, I don't like him. And she's like, well, we can put blood on his mouth, the blood of the innocent. And he's like, okay, that's more fitting. Like, and it kind of looks like Buffy and Spike, because it's a blonde man in a tuxedo and then a, like, short-haired blonde girl. I was like, okay, y'all need to calm down. Like, Buffy, why did you buy that? Where did you get that from? When? How? What? No. Ugh, they needed it for the scene, though, obviously, and it works. Buffy and Spike continue making plans and arguing over details, along with how both their names are confusing as fuck to one another. Because Buffy like makes a comment. She's like, "What name are we gonna put on the invitations? Do you want to be as like William the Bloody or Spike?" I'm like, why wouldn't you just put William if you're going to go with one of the other routes, if you're choosing something different from Spike? She's like, both are going to look pretty weird. And then he comments, oh, and Buffy has like a fucking great like charm or like ring to the fucking ears with it or whatever the fuck he says. And she goes, what's wrong with Buffy? And I love when Giles butts in, he goes, excellent question. I was trying to figure out how to say that because I just wrote down little keywords about their comments to each other. That shit was funny. But then it was funny because like, the way it ends, obviously, like Spike can't start in on Joyce for naming her that because she's like, "What's wrong with Buffy? My mother chose that name for me." He's like, "Oh, don't even get me started on her." Like, no. I wonder if Buffy called her and told her, like, in this meantime of this day, like that she was getting married to Spike. Be like, "Mom, guess what? I have a wedding you're coming to. I'm getting married." And she's like, "Oh, Buffy, that's so cute. With who?" And she's like, "That guy that tried to kill us 4 times." She's like, oh, hell, Angel again?
I was about to say, Angel.
Xander and Anya burst through the door explaining that demons are coming after them, and Buffy relates it to Giles being blind as Xander wags his fingers in front of Giles' face curiously to check, and Giles proposes immediately that he stop.
Stop, whatever you're doing. You smell like fruit roll-ups.
This is the part where I had to pause.
Did you really? This was it?
Yes,
I wouldn't have thought this was it.
No, this was totally it because like it was like you were saying earlier with Amy the rat, like when they pan into the room to kind of remind you, you know, like the fruit roll up thing is so insignificant, like, or it could be in the moment with him and Anya. So you're just like, oh yeah, and like if you're a 90s person, then you're just like you do spend a second thinking about the fruit roll ups initially. You're like, oh man, I miss a fruit roll. I can have a fruit roll up right now, you know, and then you forget about it because the scene ends.
Yeah.
And so for Giles to call it back this way, especially because he has no fucking idea what's going on, makes it so much funnier because he's like, whatever you're doing, stop it.
And you know he's lost his vision too, so he's got enhanced smell at this point too. You're dying on the screen laughing even right now. I love this for you. But it is funny because like, Xander's hollering up the stairs like, Mom, we don't want any more snacks. And he's like, I thought we'd never get rid of her. And Anya's like, I like those fruit roll-ups though. Like, and this also lets you know that Giles knows what a fruit roll-up is because he clearly knows how they smell.
Like he clocks it right away, and that's what makes it. It's like 4 funny things happening in one time just with him saying that. And I was just like, oh my god, the fact that Giles knows what a fruit roll-up is, it's so distinct that he smells it while he's blind, and the fruit roll-up's not even in the room with us, you know what I'm saying?
Which just goes to show that they were down there eating the fuck out of fruit roll-ups with their fingers to continually they had to eat at least like it was like us back in the day. We'd be eating a whole box at one damn time. Like we have done talked about fruit roll-ups like so much this damn episode now. Oh my god.
Now I gotta go get some tomorrow.
But this is like at the end of our Buffy journey or something, we gotta like have like a little like party for revamp or something like that. And we've gotta like do like the Oreos and apple juice, and we gotta make Ted's mini pizzas, we gotta have fruit roll-ups. Like
drop in the comments what else needs to be on the menu.
Yes, for real, in case we've forgotten. Willow's lemonade without sugar.
Some raisins.
Definitely ice cream. with
cheese. She likes cheese.
Oh shit. Have I told you how much I like cheese?
And we're definitely only drinking any bev out of a green mug. Or a librarian mug. Kiss the librarian.
Oh my god, I'm dead. And I know I'm happy about that, or not happy, but I've had that moment of like actual laughter because my upper jaw and like cheeks are tight, like, and they kind of hurt from grinning from this moment. Just watching you like collapse on screen again. Now I really fully believe that you fucking trip the fuck out whenever that happens. Such
crying.
A good scene. It's so funny. Xander also comments on Spike being free because he's like, what the fuck? Like, whatever. And Anya comments on he and Buffy holding hands as they break the news that they're engaged and start to kiss, as Xander wishes that he could be blind too. Anya goes, in a day and a time, I could probably make that wish come true. I love that too because he's like, can I be blind? I'm like, oh fuck. But then obviously he's like, oh fuck, I'm not blind to the fact that I know something. And he realizes that this is all Willow's fault. I like this too because he's like, work, brain, work.
Well, we're all tired of it, but what does that have to do with what's going on?
She told me I was a demon magnet and you two should get married.
But I didn't see anything.
She did a spell.
Yes. To have her will done, whatever she says is coming true.
And you both were affected.
And Buffy has the fucking gall to claim, oh, I must have only not been affected because I'm the Slayer, and I must have like a natural immunity or something.
What a girl. Come on now.
Literally, though, my note says, yeah, okay, girl. Like, I didn't look over at Giles, and then whenever she said that, but I rolled my eyes. I'm like, Buffy, no. I'm like, if anything, Giles is getting more irritated over here because he knows that she's affected by this, and obviously Buffy can't see it. Like, she doesn't want to because she's affected by it, or she just can't. It's not that she doesn't want to. She can't see past it because this is now her reality. It's so fucked up that I'm just like, no, that's not what's happening right here, little girl. And then they realize that Willow is the key to fixing everything, and the group sets out to find her before anyone else gets hurt, except for Giles, who trips and gets hurt. Like, they follow off that scene. It's like in-scene transition magic. So they're like, we need to find her before anybody else gets hurt. And then Giles like goes to move and he stumbles and trips over the fucking damn table. And I'm like, oh my god. Like, this is why I was saying Giles had the worst day out of every fucking buddy, in a way.
No,
We arrive back to her dorm room. Willow is confronted when she comes in the door by D'Hoffryn. Before she can react, he grabs her head and vanishes with her in a flash of light. I say that kind of because that's technically what happens, but really, honestly, he's just like electrocuting the sides of her head like the fucking doctor from Dead by Daylight, like when he uses his Mori, because that's exactly what the fuck this looks like. Did you remember that this was D'Hoffryn at this moment or anything like that? Or are you just like, what is this demon attacking Willow for? Were you like slightly confused?
I knew he was familiar, but I couldn't quite like place him. But I knew he was like from the past, kind of thing.
Isn't it interesting how they worked him into the storyline too, and
I
brought
actually
him kind of
love
back
it.
and stuff? Yeah,
I actually love it,
especially with what unfolds here next. But when the others arrive moments later at the dorm, they find the scorch mark left behind, and Anya recognizes it as D'Hoffryn's portal. And Buffy wonders why he would attack Willow. Only Anya doesn't believe that that's the case. We then cut to D'Hoffryn with Willow. And I guess like some other realm or like wherever his space is that he does, like he hangs out. He just hangs out in a dark room with a fucking, like, I don't know what to call this because it's not a strobe light, but it's like a light that keeps going like in and out of like light to dark, but it's not like completely making the room dark, but it's like a spotlight. I don't know what the fuck this place is, but it's like this limboed space. And he's speaking to the magic and the pain that he heard as a call from Willow. And Willow's confused, thinking that they wish to harm her because he's like, you were loud. And she's like, I can be quiet, I promise. And she kind of turns to leave and the demons won't let her leave. And she's like, oh, fuck. And then D'Hoffryn alludes to that being the opposite day version of what they want Willow for. And they're kind of breadcrumbing and fucking with us at this point. We're like, well, what do you want her for? When I originally watched this episode, I was kind of confused. I was like, well, what do they want her for? Like, I don't get it. But then obviously cutscene transition magic to our gang arriving at the cemetery crypt that Anya can summon D'Hoffryn from. We've seen her there before, so she knows where to go. As she explains her own history with D'Hoffryn and his proposal to make her a vengeance demon. They land on how it appears D'Hoffryn may be interested in Willow for the exact same reason, although the conversation is cut short when more demons attack and Buffy can't fend them off, so the group retreat into the nearby crypt while Anya attempts to do the spell to call on D'Hoffryn, and the others start barricading and holding the door shut from, the fucking 400 demons that have fucking come. I do have to note, like, all the demons, they look really interesting. Like, we've seen demons, like, in a random episode, like, Durkindastal or, like, Lagos and Revelations. We've seen demons across the series, but, like, we're so familiarized more so with, like, seeing vampires or big bads and stuff like that in some way, shape, or form. So to see, like, a bunch of demons, like, special effects and makeup team, like, had their work cut out for this episode. Because the first demon that walks up he's got them horns that's like off the side of his head, super long and shit. So he had to sit in a makeup chair for a hot ass minute to just do a few scenes. And then you have all these other demons that are like attacking them and stuff. I'm just like, that's a lot of demons on set that day. Like I said, it's usually one specific demon for the episode, but this is demons. I'm like, talk about a demon magnet. Okay. Back with ďaħfryn and Willow, he explains that her grief and magical power called out across dimensions and caught his attention, and to him, the pain that she's carrying is impressive. He points to everything she's managed to accomplish without even realizing it, obviously being the spell, and including the chaos currently surrounding her friends, showing on his, like, what I'm going to call a magical projector that, like, he, like, unfolds with his fucking fingers, just chilling there in front of his hands, and he's like, I have a projector screen, like, in my hand. He's like, this is how I watch all my reality shows. He said, this is how I watch The Hills, and MTV Cribs.
This is how I watch The Hills.
He said, I'm watching Heated Rivalry on this, and it's been getting a little itchy because, you know, the connection's kind of bad because it's kind of scratchy. He said, my Wi-Fi is kind of running out, my demonic Wi-Fi. All jokes aside, we see on the screen that, like, they're in the crypt and they're getting basically overpowered by all the demons. Buffy's getting fucking choked out and shit. And Willow is horrified when she learns what's actually happening from her magic. And ďaħfryn offers her a place amongst his ranks, explaining that someone with her power could accomplish incredible things as a vengeance demon. Willow refuses and politely declines and says that she just wants to go back and help her friends. What the fuck? Like, just the fact that she did something. Like, I love the history that we get from Anya, saying, like, you know, I was just doing little spell work on people, cursing, like, she's like boils on the penis and like a couple other little things, but she was basically doing shit like Willow was doing for vengeance, or just spell work in general for her own needs and stuff like that. And because her pain, like, got upset whenever her man was unfaithful to her, that's what, like, rippled out through time and made ďaħfryn come to her. So it lets us know ďaħfryn's also really old as fuck, like older than her even. But the fact that he heard Willow's pain and her cry, and it's right up on par with being hurt by a man, that they were like, ooh, we want you on the team. Like, we don't obviously want that for Willow, but yeah, it's like, it's interesting that they're like, oh, we see potential in you and we want to, like, offer the job to you, kind of thing.
But it's not a job she wants.
Yeah, which, like, leads me back right into, like, the episode. Like, I like the buildup of ďaħfryn. Like, we see him, he's like disappointed in her the decline, and you think he's gonna get, like, angry and stuff because he, like, looks down and he's just like, oh well. And then he accepts her answer without resistance, and before sending her home, he gives her a talisman and says, like, well, if you ever change your mind, give us a call. I'm like, okay, cute. That moment, though, like, always has driven me crazy. Whenever he sends her away, you can tell they just, like, turn the light off in the room, and you can still see Willow's, like, outline standing there, even though they put that, like, noise, like, behind it. I'm like, y'all could have done something. I was like, that always bothers me, just because, like, 2 seconds later, whenever she flashes into the crypt, I mean, it's just like a little cut. They just, like, film the crypt tomb and then, like, put Willow up there and press record again, and then that was that. There was no, like, electricity or actual CGI effect or anything. She just appeared in the room, you know what I mean? Kind of like she blinked in there. Or like bamfed. They kind of, like, use that as a term for, like, Jason in the Friday the 13th series, because he always just kind of appears in random places whenever he wasn't nowhere near there before. It's kind of like the killers that slow walk and they always seem to catch up, kind of thing.
I know,
but I was like, y'all could have just, like, clipped her out of the scene that way too. Like, what the fuck? I don't get it. It's just like, I'm like, y'all have so much technology to do so much better, and then, yeah, we've seen it. Like, at least do some shitty shit like that we can hate on in 2026. That's not the point. Back in the crypt, demons are all still overpowering the gang, and Buffy and Spike have moved on to making out on the floor during all this, because, you know, they get tossed on each other. And it's interesting, like, Spike's like Slayer, like, I don't know if because he's a demon or what, like, if he, it's just like, because Willow's about to come in here and reverse the spell, he's already, like, pulling back into it, because it's just, I don't know, it's an interesting take the way he says that, because he doesn't call her Buffy. It seems like he's, like, coming out of it a little bit, even though he's not coming out of it, you know what I mean? It was just like, I've always been kind of confused by that, so I guess I'm mentioning it here for that. But Willow appears and wastes no time casting the reversal spell.
Let the healing power begin. Let my will be safe again. As these words of peace are spoken, let this harmful spell be broken.
The magic breaks, the demons disappear. Buffy and Spike suddenly become aware of what they were doing and instantly recoil from one another in horror and disgust. And I like that too, because we get the fucking callback whenever he's like, look at that lip. Can I get it? She's like, lips of Spike, lips of Spike's lips, Spike's lips on my lips. Like, the fuck.
So funny.
Can you imagine like being her though? Like, Spike obviously is like disgusted too, because he's like, oh, I'm kissing my mortal enemy, but this probably hit Buffy 10 times more. Like, you could be so lucky to be kissing Buffy, but Buffy's like, ew, this guy literally repulsed. I was making out with him, and she remembers everything. It's not like she forgot. This isn't last episode for her, so she's like now got to go on for this day, which makes sense later why she's like, we might be into a forgetting thing later. Like, no, I ain't doing it.
Not happening.
Which, you know, obviously flashes us to the next day at Giles' home. Well, Willow attempts to make amends with apology cookies for the group and apologizes for everything that she's put them through, though nobody seems particularly interested in holding like a grudge towards her, like, at all. Like, they just kind of like have moved on so quick with it. I also want to call out that Willow's shirt that she's wearing says "Speak no evil." Like, it's got some like demon woman on it or something like that. And I was like, oh, that's clever to put her in this shirt, because clearly like her words were like taken bad this episode. So like, cute. Spike's now strapped back to the chair, as we can see, and he requests a cookie to help him get the taste of Buffy out of his mouth, and the two bicker some more before Willow jams a cookie in his mouth and moves over to Buffy, who's stepped to the side and speaks to the potential of a forgetting spell. She's like, eat a cookie, ease my pain. She's like, bitch, like, no, like, we gonna have some problems, because I do not need to have this in my mind for the rest of my fucking life that this day occurred. And I was like, well, just go call the oracles real quick and they can reverse and do a whole thing. I promise it'll happen. But unfortunately, Buffy doesn't know about that. So I like this moment though, because as she's talking about it, she's like, I just need a nice normal guy, yada yada yada, and she remembers in her own words that Riley still thinks that she's engaged, and she freaks out. She's like, what the fuck am I gonna say to him? Cutscene transition to the next day, where Buffy is seen walking with Riley on campus, playing off the event as a joke and giving Riley a hard time, like basically saying, I don't know, she summed it up saying like, oh, I saw your expression on your face and I just had to fuck with you, kind of thing. I'm like, well, this is the best you got. You really can't do anything. You can't tell them like that there was a magical spell, like, which is always an element. I said this over on Investigating when I was on that Stranger Things episode. Like, I love the show whenever you have to explain to somebody, like, in some way, shape, or form. Like, they called Mr. Clark on the phone to ask how to make the salt tank for Elle to, like, you know, go into that world or whatever, the deprivation chamber or whatever. Emulator. And he's like, why do you want to know this? And they're like, science. Like, you have to create an excuse. And we used to have to do this earlier on the show, and Buffy's like, oh, I have to leave the house. And her mom's like, why? And she's like, I'm going to study at Willows, but you know they're really going to kill evil. I like when shows have this element of like the core group can know what's going on, but the outsiders, you have to like find some way to work around the truth. And that element's always fun. So it's interesting that this is like all that she can have, but at least she had this, because it is kind of like passable as like her being like, I was just fucking with you and stuff like that. But that could have went either way. Like, he could have came up the next day and been like, actually, I don't want anything to do with you, because you literally are giving like fucking weird mixy energy, like, you know, whatever. Either way, that's not what happens, and Riley remains confused, but also clarifies that Buffy's not getting married, and she is in fact a bit insane, but she's still single, right? All three of which Buffy give a happy yes of assurance to. Of course, the first two is like I like when he's like, and you're insane, and she goes and obviously, like I said, lands on, but you're single, and she's like, yes. Riley equates this to a new piece of the Buffy puzzle that he's gained, and Buffy jokes that he has a lot to learn about women. He touches her face softly, assuring that she's going to teach him. Walking away as she stares in his direction, we fade to black, and here endeth the episode. It's like the most subtle ending we've had in a while. I think that's interesting, because he was talking about teaching her how to drive earlier, and now he's talking about she's going to teach him something too. And I was just like, all right. So now I guess we have the like okay for like the potential of this relationship to actually spark now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that'll be fun to like witness going forward, but it'll also be fun to like see where that goes, just because of the fact that like this guy's in the initiative and she's a vampire slayer. So
that makes me nervous.
Might have some Slayer predictions coming up.
Oh hell.
AKA soon.
AKA in 5 minutes.
I'll ask you in a second. To close back to like kind of where I was talking about earlier with Willow's journey and stuff like that, arriving at the end, I did want to say, like, I appreciate Willow, like, being apologetic and sympathizing for her actions and, like, the consequences of them in the end. I do, like I said, find it interesting that even though it was, like, her fault and stuff, everyone just kind of forgives her. Like, on one hand, I feel like that's good friends because, like, nothing bad happened. And stuff like this occurs in their lives all the time. Like, weird, wacky, magical, or, like, evil, demonic, like, supernatural stuff happens. And they've normalized that, I guess is what I'm kind of trying to say. But like at the same time, I feel like, in my opinion, I feel like they should have held her a little bit more accountable, because like she caused some potential disastrous things that could have happened. Like not only for Buffy's like mental health, like Xander specifically. I know we talked about Giles being blind and him having his own degree in it. Like Xander was actually in real danger all episode. Like he had a slew of demons coming after him, and they're just gonna forgive her, like, and just be like, oh, ha ha ha, like it's just magical use. Like, you know, you would expect Giles to at least be scolding her, like, or being like, well, we need to like. Not that he can control Willow, but like scolding her in some way, shape, or form, being like, Willow, you need to like really think twice about your magic use and like things like that. I think Willow kind of knows that, maybe possibly at this point, but like as we'll see in the future, maybe she does not quite so much know that she doesn't need to resource magic to every single little thing. You know what I mean? I just think that I guess we maybe don't see it, but I feel like there should have just been a little bit more around that, or like comments back to it or something like that in future episodes, which I really don't feel like we get. And leading back to this to show a little bit more repercussions for like what Willow caused, because like I said, she does need a little bit more consequences versus like that. But I guess them cookies are fucking bomb and everybody's just like, whatever, you know what I mean?
Everyone's like, it's fine, just keep making those. She put weed in the cookies, so everyone's like,
oh, hell no, she did not. That's not weed in them fucking cookies. You know exactly what this is. Them fucking Dematorin cookies, that Ted recipe that she stole out his damn little notebook, because who loved them damn cookies more than anybody? Willow and Xander.
You're so
who loves some damn snacks.
And you know, initially she was just going to use them on Xander, and then she was like, well, let's just see. Let's see if anyone recognizes this recipe. Xander won't. He's been eating fruit roll-ups the last 3 days.
Oh shit. Well, what we need to recognize is themes and metaphor for this episode. Okay, so obviously Something Blue is about emotional instability and the danger of trying to magically bypass pain instead of actually processing it. Willow is grieving Oz, but instead of sitting with that loss, she tries to fix it, first emotionally, but then literally through magic. The spell turning her words into reality is a direct metaphor for that. Everything she says comes from a place of hurt, insecurity, or frustration, and suddenly those feelings have real world consequences. It's a show taking internal emotional chaos and making it external and uncontrollable. There's also an important layer here about power. Willow is starting to rely on magic not just as a tool, but as a way to control how she feels and how the world responds to her. And this episode shows how dangerous that can be when it's coming from an unstable place. She's not being malicious, but the lack of control still creates damage. The episode primarily explores a message in avoidance. Willow doesn't want to feel the pain of losing Oz, so she tries to willow it away. But the more she avoids it, the worse things get. It's only when she finally confronts what she's done and takes responsibility that everything resets. So while the episode is funny and chaotic on the surface, it's quietly setting up something bigger. This is one of the first real signs that Willow's relationship with magic isn't about helping anymore. It's becoming something she uses to manage herself. So I'm just saying that as a little bit of a crumb for the future. I'm not saying that becomes a problem, but like more instances like this could happen as they tend to. So
yeah,
just be on the lookout, Courtney.
Well, that goes without say, honestly.
Literally goes without slay. Not on this show. I have really no Buffy fun facts except for the fact that this deleted scene was cut, and Buffy was like, so she did a good spell, but the plan kind of sucked. I mean, she's the one stuck eating pellets out of a plastic cup, so I'm assuming that this is about Amy and that scene, and I guess they cut it. I don't know, like, I mean, it doesn't make sense or whatever, but like it's just talking about Amy the rat, and I was like, okay, I get why they cut it, but I'm like, they could have like took the 2 extra seconds to talk about damn Amy, like just so quick to forgive and forget, like just forget and forget. Buffy's all about that forgetting here lately. So, but what we did not forget is our final slays.
Final slays.
Final slays. Look at that lip, Courtney. Can I get it? You like how I had to pause and think of one? I was like, what? So many were popping in my head. Final slays. Stop that. You smell like fruit roll-ups.
Too much.
Too many quotes to choose from, and I obviously only landed on a couple because I didn't want it to be forever long, but you, as usual, go first.
Oh, yeah. No, same here. Like, I'm going to have to...
read all of what you wrote.
Definitely not, because that's basically the entire freaking episode. And some of them we said along the way, so really that's why I have to make sure. So when they were talking about Oz, Anya was Was it Oz? Yeah, they were talking about Willow basically being in a really sad state and over Oz. And Anya goes, I only wish I had my powers back. I'd liquefy his entrails for her.
That was actually pretty nice. I mean, not really, but you know what I mean.
For her, maybe. And then when Willow's drunk and the bottle falls out and she's like, yeah, I just figure in the grand scheme of things, we're all just, and then the bottle falls and Buffy goes, drunk? And then we covered it, but Spike, when he was responding to Buffy's suggestion of a daytime wedding, and he's like, fabulous, enjoy your honeymoon with a big pile of dust.
So fun. The ones I wrote were Spike being like, oh, well, I guess it's the same one you had, just shows that the Mr. and Mrs. Big Pile of Dust was also one of mine. Riley, when he's talking to Buffy outside the dress store, and she's like, sometimes you look at someone and you know, and he just goes, no. Like, he was so confused during the whole thing. I'm just like, everything that was coming out of her mouth was
Poor
not
guy.
lining up. I'm like, oh yeah, poor guy, for real. Spike, whenever he's like, this is the crack team that foils my every plan, I am deeply shamed, because he's just like, what the fuck, this is how y'all operate? Like, what, how do y'all take me down every time? Like, I don't get it. This is what working behind the scenes is like. No, he's like, I should have killed you all by now. I don't get it. I like when Xander was talking about being tired of Willow's mood swings, and Anya excitedly goes, oh, we don't have to be nice about her anymore. Oh, shit. I was like, don't you know that Willow's talking the same shit about you behind your back too?
Mm-hmm.
And then Willow offering Giles the oatmeal raisin cookie, and he's like, nice try, I can see they are chocolate chip. But then obviously that makes sense, because like Willow loves raisins, so we would assume that she'd be making oatmeal raisin, not some fucking damn delicious ass chocolate chip cookies. But thank God, because chocolate chip is the way to go. It
was confusing for both reasons.
I need peanut butter for me, so Willow would have been barking up the wrong tree. Peanut butter chocolate chip would have been great.
Mm-hmm.
Delish. And then then it goes into the comment whenever like they're talking about the spell work could at least cast me the ability to not need glasses at all, aka 20/20 vision, because he was like basically saying like, if you were going to cast any kind of spell on my eyesight, like at least fix it. Like, I thought that was funny.
I know. He's like, I still need glasses.
Yeah, there's so many other fun quotes in it, but I could not.
Yeah.
Shining Slayer, who'd you give it to?
Willow.
Did you really? What the fuck?
Yeah,
Why?
I did.
Why?
Because this bitch could have full on chosen to be a vengeance demon and left her friends in chaos, and instead she looked straight at him and said, no, thank you. Like you said, they were like, you're overqualified for the position, and she said, I don't want it.
Yeah.
Good, I don't want it anyway.
That's my Slade moment, like, because I really couldn't pick out a Slade moment. There was a lot of like moments that could have been like funny Slade moments, but like that was a serious Slade moment, so that's mine, as you know, to jump ahead a little bit. I landed on Xander for figuring out for the group that Willow caused the events to like unfold in general, and Anya helping with the demon knowledge, because like had she not known how to kill that demon at first, they probably would have been killed by that first one. And then also she came in hot with like the fact of like being like, oh, that's the Hoffman's portal, let's go. I'll go take y'all to this crypt, and I'll like help like get us on track with like getting in touch with him, because he's clearly got Willow, you know what I mean? Like Xander and Willow for the first time. I don't think I've ever really had Xander for Shining Slayer, maybe like one time before. So here's his time to be in the spotlight. You're shining,
Here's
Xander.
his time to shine.
Literally. What gave you the Wiggins?
The condition of Oz's room.
Oh. Okay, you're really that was a problem for you.
Really gotta double down on that one.
You had to choose one. I guess that's it. Mine, I just put clearly Buffy and Spike in all their comments, like, look at that lip, can I get it? I'm just like it's funny and it's great, but it's also kind of like it's cringy to like see these two together, especially in this way and stuff like that. Like, you're just like, oh, this isn't supposed to be happening. This is not supposed to be happening. Angel's head would be spinning off somewhere, like if he knew that this day like occurred.
Yeah,
he'd be like, I know how to talk to oracles, I got this. Again. Okay, what was your that Slade moment since I gave mine?
The part in the beginning where Buffy just like slays that vampire mid-sentence as her and Willow are in the walk, and she's like, boop, you're done.
That's a good one. All right, well, Slayer at prediction. I said I was going to ask you one whenever we were there a minute ago, and I don't remember what it was. Do you remember?
Something about Riley?
Oh, yes. Okay, thank you. So this one's kind of impromptu. I didn't write this one down, but it sparked it because we were talking about it. When do you think Buffy and Riley like become official, or do they? And then in that, as a part B to that question, when do you think they find out about each other being like Slayer
Something
and
else.
the initiative.
Okay, so I'm going to answer the last question first and say that I think they don't find out about each other until after they make it official, but maybe I'm wrong.
Okay.
And they make it official. I don't know. I mean, it could be as soon as next episode. I don't know how time goes by between episodes in this land. So maybe I would assume in the next few episodes, if they're going to, then that would be when, as soon, like the next episode or two.
All right, great. Well, speaking of the next episode, you don't really have to Slayerette predict it, really, but I'm super excited to get to it. I feel like we should be doing a reacts video for it, but I don't really have the time to meet up and do stuff like that for that.
Do you want me to record myself?
No, we have to watch the episode together for sure, because it's
okay.
The next episode is Hush. It's the iconic, everyone's going to always choose this in their top 5 Buffy episodes. It's won awards. It's a fun episode for what happens in it. You have no idea. You have context of like seeing the gentlemen before, like at the Buffy prom, and seeing what they kind of look like and stuff like that.
And I don't even really remember that.
You don't know what the episode framed around, like who they are, what they do, what occurs, anything like that, which is so fun. So that being said, we do have to watch that episode online together, so that way we could just view it together for sure. And then we can give everybody's reactions and stuff to that. Like we have a future episode we'll watch together and stuff like that. So that'll be different. But like we're here, like Hush is going to be such an iconic big episode. We'll have a really fun guest for that episode, someone that has not been on the show before as well. So it'll be fun to meet her and see how we interact with her, because I've never talked to her besides messages and stuff. But I think she'll be a fun addition for this episode. So yeah. Either way. All right, everyone. That's it. Thanks for listening to us talk about something, or just talk in general, something blue. It wasn't very blue. We made it fun. We made it more like, what's another color that's not blue?
I don't know. Pink.
Either way, let us know, you guys, if this is a favorite one of yours. Are you surprised another one of Willow's spells has gone all wonky? Were you glad for it so we could get the hilarity that is this episode? What would you will so if you could cast this spell and have it work? Let us know. And in the meantime, I will it so that you guys head to Spotify or Apple and leave us a review, because it's been a while since we've gotten some feedback, and I'd love to continue to help our audience grow. So, that's a sure way you can help. And I also will it so that you guys will return next week for our coverage of Angel's episode Hero, to which I'm sure you all will, because that's a pretty big episode. And of course, that leads into a handful of more exciting and pivotal episodes of both shows. So yeah, anyways, we'll talk to you guys all next time.
Yay.
How long are you going to keep making these?
Oh, until I don't feel so horribly guilty. I figure about 1 million ships from now. Also, I have to detail Giles's car.
Done.
Huh? 2:05. Here's Dad.
Look, cookies. A very not evil thing I did. Oatmeal.
It's very funny. The chocolate chip, I can see them. I still need my glasses, though. You couldn't be more specific and give me 20/20.
Eat a cookie, ease my pain. Better? Well, baking lifts about 30% of my guilt, but only 7% of my inner turmoil. Guess that'll just take a while. It'll happen.
Don't I get the cookie?
No.
Well, I gotta have something. Still have Buffy taste in my mouth.
You're a pig, Spike.
Yeah. Well, I'm not the one who wanted wind beneath my wings for the first dance.
That was the spell.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Buffy on Revamped. Remember to join us next week for a new episode release as we continue our journey through Sunnydale along with our Scoobies. We would love to hear from you, so share your thoughts. Discuss with us your perspectives on this or previous week's episodes by following us on Instagram and sending us a DM at revamped_rewatch podcast, or by emailing us at revampedrewatchpod@gmail.com.
And if you're interested in a world left behind, check out my show, Echoes of Elsewhere, an urban exploration podcast where I uncover the hidden mysteries of forgotten places, interview other explorers, and share with you my tips and tricks of the trade. Subscribe and listen wherever you get your podcasts. Until next time,
The Earth is definitely doomed. This podcast is dedicated to the Buffyverse, to its fans, and my sister, Tiffany Dawn Pearson.